All right, let's see what happens. Are things working or did we break things? Let's see. If everything is going well, things should be happening. So we're just turning on the stream and we're streaming on multiple channels. So we're first I want to just see if everything is working correctly. And I see YouTube is working, which is awesome. So I'm going to set up a few windows so I can also keep an eye on the chat. If you're turning in, you're really early, but I'm happy that you're here. All right, chat is looking good. I'm wondering if I can get rid of some of this beautiful Riverside branding. So just setting up a few things before we dive in. If you're here, just say hi in the chat. I'll do my best to see if I can find you. Mm-hmm. So I see YouTube is up. Let's see if something's happening on Twitter as well. So I think Twitter is kind of pooping up. So I'll see if I can turn that back on and we will get started as soon as possible. Okay. So I think things should be working on X as well. See if we can just add a logo in the stream real quick. Never mind, doesn't really matter. All right, this is it. So it seems that we are ready to go. Thank you for bearing with me. There we go. So that's X and finally Twitch and LinkedIn. Twitch is working. LinkedIn, not so much, I think. Did I accidentally close LinkedIn somewhere? Apparently. Give me one last second to set this up. Europe West. Bit of unfortunately that I destroyed that one because I think it was up and running, but that's when you get when you close things, right? Get URL and I think I can still change this. One last copy paste for LinkedIn. Wow, it's quite a bit of work apparently to go live on all different channels. The preview window for a live stream has been temporarily set to manage, so please start the stream when you're ready to go live. I am live. Where do I start now? Okay. I will just turn the stream on and off for 1 second. I'll be right back. And we should be good. All right. Sorry about that. Pin this one, keep this one open. And it is up, so we will pin, oh. All right, so this is a bit of a pain. Keep this one open. And it's important to forget not to mute yourself in all the tabs where you have your stream open, because otherwise you'll be listening to yourself for the entire day. All right, I think I have some things in chat open. Twitch is here. And it's a complete mess, but it is absolutely fine for now. So let's get to it, everyone. Fine, I think you've seen enough of my face. And yeah, we should get to it. One totally underprepared live stream, but we will do a lot of fun things today. Let's see if I can also open up my X account, see if there's still a live stream going on. If not, too bad. All right. I think it is. Wow. Everything is working. Life's crazy, isn't it? Cool. Okay. First, zoom out. It's a bit too much of my face. And I will share my screen because, to be honest, it's not really about my face today, believe it or not. Luckily for you. Relume.io. There we go. Wow. I'm not quite sure why my camera is flickering. I apologize for that, but it seems to be a source problem. Maybe cable thingy. Sharing a window. Bada bing, bada boom. And this is where the magic happens. So welcome to the stream. Today we will be creating a exciting new project. And I will delete and start. I'll be sure to start totally from scratch. And what we'll actually be creating is a real website, or a website for a real business. And we'll be using Relume, Webflow, and Figma. So I will try to give a short overview of what everything is, but at the same time, I don't want to make it like a totally newbie project because it'll take too long. It's almost 2 o'clock here. I'll try to do my best to get the whole thing up and running within 3 hours. So we will see how far we can come. So if all goes well, we'll be able to divide it in 3 separate stages. We'll start with the sitemap and the wireframes. That will be 1 chapter. The second chapter will be the design part in Figma. And the third part will be the actual building in Webflow. I still hear myself from one channel, so I'll just mute myself there as well. If you are joining the chat, feel free to say hi, drop me a message, and I will do my best to keep an eye on it. But nonetheless, if there's anyone here with any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. But at the same time, I do want to stay on point. So what we'll be doing today is we'll be creating a website. Describe a company in a sentence or two to generate a sitemap. So we will be creating a website for a company. Let's just put it like this. The company is named We Celebrate. It is a event planning business that specializes in 3 topics: love, life, and business. The number of pages, it will be fairly low, 1 to 5. It'll be well, let's just do it in English and we will translate it later on because it's actually a Dutch website. And this is where we'll start. So this is Relume, the AI sitemap builder. As you can see, I only filled in a description of the website. I told them the number of websites and I pressed create and it will create a sitemap. Now, I already have quite a strong idea of what I actually want it to be. So I will be about us. Well, it's fine. It will not be a service pages. It will be life, love, and business. It will be a download brochure of download inspiration. What do you call it? Inspiration document. I don't know what the exact name will be. And of course, there will be a contact page. And I do know a few of the sub pages that will be there. So it will be for love. It will be, I'll just rename this. Sorry, it is life is birthday, baby shower, and jubileum, anniversary. But that's actually love, right? Well, I guess you can also have an anniversary in a live event, so that's fine. So for love, it will be wedding planner. I don't know the English words, but it's called in Dutch, ceremoniemeester. I will translate for you, translate to English. It is a master of ceremonies. That's a silly translation. Anyway, yeah, okay, a master of ceremonies. My bad. And for business events, it will be a corporate event or business party. I'm not quite sure what the English word is. It could be a team building event. Team building event. It could be an opening or a launch. So together with the client, I actually already decided that we're going to build the website in phases. So actually the level 3 or the bottom row, we will do that later for SEO. For right now, we will only do like top level stuff. So it would be the homepage and these couple of pages. And in the future, for example, for live or birthday parties, we will create a sub page. But since it'll take up like more time for the copy and the photos and whatnot to generate, we will do that later on. So right now, this is the first step. So this will be the sitemap. There will be a CTA page or a landing page, which I think is incredibly important. Of course, this one also needs a thank you page for measuring conversion, measuring tracking and whatnot. So I'm just gonna do a quick check-in in the stream. And I actually see the screen share is not coming through, or is it? On LinkedIn, it is not. Maybe it's a little bit behind. Turn on the audio. Okay, so let's see. LinkedIn is incredibly lagging behind. So that's quite slow, but I see on YouTube and Twitch, actually, it is not really happening. Oh yeah, there we go. Everything is up and running. And on X, it's also happening. All is well. Good. All right. So this is our sitemap. First, I will check out the homepage. And I want to do a quick sneak peek because there's already some ideas here, but we are going to recreate it from scratch. I won't do any cheating. Let's see. So the first thing, it is a navbar hero section. It will be, let me take a quick look. Give me one moment. Oh. All right. So there will be a hero header section. There will be a CTA. I think this will be a lot later. There won't be a newsletter. Wow, newsbrief. Apologies. So I will delete this component. There might be a team section of one. So we have hero featured section. Maybe some feature list first, then the feature, some benefits. We won't do any awards. Testimonials might be at the bottom, or maybe just one before the CTA. All right, so this looks like a solid start. For the, I do want to create one actually. So I'm going to create for live. I'm going to create one as well. It'll be a hero header featured portfolio list, benefits, FAQ, CTA, delete, and then the testimonials, I think, also before the CTA in the footer. All right, so I think this is a fair start. So this is the sitemap in a nutshell. Well, we can, of course, create a lot more, like the content page is, of course, very simple. Header, contact section, content form. Once again, there won't be a newsletter. Probably something we would want to tackle in the prompt, saying there won't be a there will be a newsletter in this website, maybe a call to action. Nah, that doesn't make sense, to be honest. Delete. So here's our contact page. And yeah, let's just start with the homepage. So what we actually did now, just to summarize it in the first chapter, sitemap, determining the structure of the website. So why is this so important? This is something that you need to run by with your client, because this is actually the very first step of building and understanding what type of website your client needs. What you want to avoid, and especially after you made a proposal, is that a client says, well, I totally forgot, but I would love to have this and this as well, which can be a pain in the ass to add later on. So nevertheless, make sure first you get an agreement on what the website actually should be. You can, of course, sell this as well as some sort of a sprint zero or maybe a kickoff session. And you can explain to the client, hey, look, I know you're shopping for websites. I just want to make sure that we have a nice click and get some really good results together. For maybe like 500 euros, I will help you with determining what your website should be. So you can talk about their business, trying to understand what's important to them, what they need, what they should avoid, and then finally deliver a sitemap or maybe even the wireframes. But let's just start with this to get a good understanding of what we're building, and I will press the wireframe button here and a lot of magic stuff will happen. So because we already decided which type of components we actually want to to fit in the website, it is now generating the wireframes based on what we actually said. So this is the homepage. It is a the hero header, the navigation. What I don't really like is the menu, but it's called About Us. We can do live and duplicate. No, maybe. Okay. Let's see. Can I select this? Navbar. Generate copy. Live. I just want to type live, love, live, love. That's strange. Okay, so let's see how we can change the menu. It should be About Us, live, love, business, and contact. Okay, interesting. For some reason, I'm not allowed to. To add multiple menu items at this point. So I could look that up later. I'll do that off stream. Because of course you do want to have the menu that makes sense. We could even say, you know what? Let's see if we can pick a different navbar. Replace components. We will have a choice of a lot of different navbar components. So that's the cool thing about Relume. You get a lot of these things like out of the box. So you can determine like how complex or simple do you want your menu to be. Often I would advocate the simpler the better. So for example, I won't have a drop down, so it would probably be something like this. And then again, I would love to be able to change the content of this: live, love, business, contact, and then this would be download inspiration. Grab your free inspiration document, or maybe free inspiration document. It should be a call to action, something to generate leads. Anywho, let's go into the actual homepage. So the first one is actually the homepage that should be something in the lines of helping you celebrate life, love, and business. I won't get into the copy too much. And I think this is an interesting one to keep like a big featured. And then here it should be, once again, live, love. Oh, wait a second. Actually, so these two are different. So what I would want to do is I probably prefer the simple one right now. So I will delete this one. And I'm going to duplicate and duplicate. And I want the middle one to have the image on the other side. And we'll say live, love, business. Now there won't be a sign up button, so we will disable this later on. And this will be the 3 navigations. So maybe we could consider, you know what, this is a big feature section, but what if I would like the visitor to be able to quickly navigate to one of those 3 events? So what if I could add a section and should look for maybe something with 3, yeah, it's probably something like a content block. So maybe it should fit as a block list. And it should be, let's keep it something simple, maybe something like this. I would prefer probably to remove the headings from here. Maybe what can we celebrate together? Life, love, business. Yeah, so we will change these components, but this could be a nice idea, I think, to to help the user quickly navigate to one of those parts that's relevant to them. All right, let's just quick checking in with everyone, how things are going. All is still well. If there are any questions, feel free to jump in. So nice big party photo, happy people, happy smiles. And actually what I'm going to do now is to take a quick look at Relume components, because I'm not really 100% happy yet with the way that we can navigate to those 3 items. So this is the Relume website. It has all the components fitted in. So these are the major headers. And I think, to be honest, a big one with a main call to action like download the inspiration guide is not a bad idea. Then the question is maybe how can we, to be honest, I think maybe having like multiple pictures of all sorts of parties would be a cooler thing to do. So maybe I'm going to make a switch to one of those. Because of course the homepage, it's all about different parties, right? So it's about business, life, love life, business. So I think it's a cool idea to show like different types of parties. So let me just quickly browse some inspiration here. Yeah, and I think I already decided on number 76. 76, yes. So I'm going to select this hero, and I'm actually going to say, you know what? I want to replace this component. I'll just do the number, and it's this one. Bow. So I think this will be really cool, showing the different images to really explain, like, oh, I see business events, I see a wedding, I see a birthday party. You're in the homepage, so I need to show everyone, like, hey, there's a lot of different parties going on, and now you need to, pick which one works for you. So like I said, I would love to get maybe like a nice component with 3 different columns. I think this one is interesting. So these are just with an image. I think the image makes a lot of sense, right? Maybe just something as simple as this. We could see if we can do maybe something more visual, but it's not a bad idea to prioritize functionality and keep it simple. Ooh, this is kind of nice, but they're not equal. So I think this, if you would go with something like this, you would need to know for sure that maybe one is more important than the other. But yeah, the bento ones are pretty cool. And I actually know the client quite well. I think she might prefer maybe something a bit more creative. Okay, you know what? Let's just start with keeping it simple. And like I said, everyone, this is a live stream, so we're going to go through it slowly, step by step. 236, let's select it, replace component, 236, and it's this one. Here we go. Oh, I just want to replace the text. Life, love, business. And cool. So this is the header. These are the quick navigation to those 3 items. Once again, maybe some benefits. I think the buttons will definitely change, but we'll do that in Figma, I think. Then we have like a nice content block for each one of the bigger ones, so we can have maybe a bit more context. Yeah, so the meet the team is a bit of an annoying one because right now it's a team of 1. So I want to find a component that makes sense there. And it might not exactly be the about block that we're looking for. Team section. So the team sections are always like multiple people. So I just want to take a quick look to see if there's maybe a team of 1 thing that I could use. Not really, but since it's only one, maybe it's more like an about page example. You know what? Let's just check the feature section. So to be honest, in my opinion, in the feature section is where a lot of the cooler ones are. And maybe to be honest, the video is really not a bad idea. I know the owner is quite active on with videos in stories and TikToks and whatnot. So maybe like something like this could be a cool idea to just add some personality and just 3 quick points that you should know. And if you want to know more, you can navigate to the about section. So let's go with layout 33. This one, replace component 33, layout 33. It's this one. So here we'll do like a nice video of her. And I do think this might need a bit of a section between. So it's called a type. What do you call it? Like a header? Header typo. To kind of split up the 3 sections and this one. So what would be a nice header? Maybe just the center one to break it up. Should there be a... Yeah, let's just do this. Learn more about... hi, I'm Nas, and I'd love to help you celebrate your life, love, and business events. So for the copy right now, everything is just a rough draft. I'm really using this to keep up the momentum, keep up the speed, to just kind of go fast. So this will change, of course. There's a testimonial here, and there's a CTA. So I think for the CTA, it's important to know that, okay, what is actually the lead generator? Is it like a download thing or fill in your email, whatever? And yeah, why should it be a separate page? You know, I mean, if somebody wants to download it, I want it on every page. To be honest, if there's a email form in the CTA and we're able to send the people to the thank you page, that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to look for a different CTA, and I'm going to look for one with a big image and a fill in your email. So an image on the right, maybe this one. And instead of, so this is what I really like. You pick your layout, and then the question is, do you want it as a normal or in a card? I think, to be honest, a card thing really stands out because the rest of the website is really open. And instead of buttons, I want a form. So this is download your free download your free copy of the 2024 Inspiration Guide. And this will be an image. So for the footer, think about the sitemap, of course. So if we go back to sitemap here in the top, we'll actually see you want to go to home, about, life, love, business, and contact. So it will be like only a very few simple pages. There are some legal pages, of course, the address, the socials. Truth be told, this is perfectly fine. And if you want, you can go into a different footer. But for me, I think this is absolutely killer. So with that, the question is, are we ready to wrap up the sitemap and wireframe phase? Because that is the end of the first chapter. I think, to be honest, we're 15 minutes in now, which is really fast. So within 15 minutes, we were able to roughly outline the website, create the first wireframe, and take it from there. So while I'm checking the stream, I'm actually seeing that LinkedIn is not sharing the screen, which is a horrible situation. That means that people on LinkedIn have not been able to see my screen. Give me 1 minute because I wanted to make a note out of that. So we'll take a few. Just give me 3 minutes to see if I can fix that before we'll continue. Please, in order to provide Oh, okay. My apologies. The sniffles. Sorry about that. Hay fever season. It has begun. Okay, so let's continue. Let's wrap up the homepage and move this to Figma. So we will have the screen share here. And it's time to switch it to Figma. Figma. All right. To be sure that we're really doing it from scratch, I'll be downloading a new Figma file from Relume, Figma library, open in Figma, and we will do a clean file. So actually in Figma now, I should see in recent that there is a Relume Figma file here. We're going to move this to We Celebrate. Move file. We Celebrate. Pow, move, We Celebrate. Rename this. All right. And I also need to check if the Relume plugin is up and running. It is. Am I still logged in? I am not. And now I am. There we go. All right. So the Relume and Figma file. This will be the second chapter of this stream in which we will actually add some flavor to the design. And I do want to let you know that I already did some design work with the client earlier on, and I will be reusing some of that styling, but I'm going to recreate it in Figma in this file from scratch, so not to get a false start. What I'll actually do first is create a page called Wireframe, and I'm just going to here in the Figma. Let me just double check if all the streams are up to date. Everyone is seeing my Figma screen. It is great. Click on We Celebrate and going to add all the wireframes. Pow, 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 pow. This will take a while. But here we go. And if you really want to get fancy, or maybe you don't want to share the Relume environment with your client, you can also go back to Figma and say, I'm going to add the entire sitemap here, which is exactly the same as you saw from Relume. I think this is a wasted step, but anyway, I wanted to show you. Yeah, so it only created the 2 pages of which I actually made wireframes of. So I'm going to ungroup this. And here we actually see we get a home and a, desktop and a mobile version. I was just freaking out about this, this menu. We can get into mobile later. It's absolutely fine. Right now, you should also, well, never mind, just park that. Cool. So as you know, these are the options that we chose. A few things to note. Let's first go through the Figma file before actually doing the design work, so you all know what's going on. Within the Figma file, there's a welcome thingy, which explains to you how Figma works, and it has a few really useful links to any support that you would need. I'm going to toss this. Sitemap and wireframe I just created. And this is the style guide, which we'll get into in a second. There's a changelog, which I'm also going to toss, the thumbnail, whatever. And in this file, I'm going to show you this because it actually has all the components from Relume. So for example, these are all the hero headers. So as you saw in the Sitebuilder, I was able to select any of these headers and you actually have them here. And what I absolutely love from Relume is that when you copy and paste that wireframe, these are actually linked to exactly those components, which is cool, right? Which means also that the file is pretty dynamic. Now, there are some variables, and I'd love to hear if you guys are interested in seeing me work with the variables or briefly explaining them. It's a bit of a work, but to be honest, it is worth it to set everything up. But it will take some time, and it's on the stream, so it's a bit of a pain in the ass. So these are some of the sketches and color things, experiments that I've done in the past. Created the logos already. Got a bunch of colors ready. Got some mood boards. Already made a couple of socials to kind of get that feeling to establish the minimalistic version of a brand. And yeah, really figure out like how should this look and work. Now, the cool thing is, of course, that I forgot one thing, which is actually that we celebrate without having a version like this. So there should also be a version where there's no adjacent or sub brand attached to it, where it's just the We Celebrate logo. And as you can see here, we're going towards a multicolor brand, meaning that for love, business, and life, every section has its own color. Right now, we will just start with the first one. I won't be doing the multicolor thingy on stream. I think it's too complicated and it'll take too much time and it won't be relevant for everyone. So these are the colors that I'm starting with. So I created a couple of custom color palettes with a handy tool. If you are interested, I can let you know. We're just going to copy this and start actually building. So here we go. I want to create a separate page called brand, just to keep things a bit separate. The logos are something that I need, but I do need them a bit more compact. So I will just start with these for now. Here we go. So I also need a regular version without the love. Yeah, so as you can see, the logo on its own is super simple. Kept it as clean as possible because with the sub-brand, really wanted to make that stand out. The question should be if the basics of the logo should be the darkest color of this. So here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to add the colors here to the brand. So the idea behind color variables is as follows. You have two different main sections, primitive and semantic. And if you understand primitive, the semantic part will be quite easy. So let's start there. In primitive, you are just going to list your colors. So you have your brand colors, and maybe you've seen like these types of palettes before, which is perfectly fine. You might think like, why do you need all those tints? I'm actually missing a 25 one here that I would love to have, but I'll get into that later. You want your neutrals, and you have a color systems for success, warnings, and errors. I have the same tints for these ones as well, but it will be a lot of work, but we might implement them as well. So for now, I'm just going to create a few colors, call it, this is called color brand already, so it's called brand 50, and this is the fun part, so it's just a bunch of typing over. So while you see me hop on the struggle bus, oh, and already making my first typo, that's lovely. Feel free to ask me any questions in the chat. I will check them after I finished this wonderful job. I would love to go into editing mode by keyboard to F4 EDEC, POW, create new color, brand 200. And that's, as you can guess, this is why I'm only doing this color for now, because it is quite a manual labor. But trust me, if you have this set up and you're going for a longer relationship with your client, and I'm definitely going to because she is my fiance, it's worth setting this up. Because if you will have to change anything in the future, this is such a blessing to have. So this is really the investment that you're making for your future self. And is it always needed? Well, no, not really. As some of you know, maybe as well, I'm running a productized service, which is a subscription in which I'm helping clients to set things up real fast. And it's one of the questions that I also ask my clients, because the question is, how properly do you want to have this set up? Because I can do it really quick and messy. Quick and dirty is the expression. But if you do at some point decide to change things, it will be more complex, it'll take more time. So my question to a client is always like, hey, what do you prefer? Do you prefer speed or quality? Because at the end of the day, it's not really up to me. Of course, I can say, you know what, I feel that every client should work this way. It's super important, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, maybe a client says, you know what, I really don't care about this crap, and I can't really blame them. And then you might want to work a bit more effective, because this isn't necessarily the most effective way. This really is the long-term way. So I now created these brand colors. I would normally do the same for neutrals as well. As you can see in my other file, I have different types of gray. So for example, the gray that I use here, if you're interested, this is from Untitled UI, which is a beautiful design system. This is the gray system. But you can also say, you know what, maybe I want a different type of gray. So there's a gray warm, gray blue. And as you can see, these are all the color palettes that you can use as a primary. And a primary gray, I should say. So these are your different flavors for neutral. To be honest, with what we're going for as the main color, I think the gray warm would be a really nice fit. On the other hand, maybe you could go for a bit of a more lighter one. I would say normally I would prefer to already set this up. So maybe I'm just going to allow myself to quickly do this. So I'm going to start with the gray warm, paste this in, and this will be a bit of a change. So I'm going to say neutral lightest. So this will be neutral 25. And the nice thing about this is that I can copy paste it. So neutral should be just neutral 500. Darkest. So yeah, you need to figure something out here, but let's just say this should be 950. Darker should be maybe 800. 600. And then this should be 400. This should be somewhere 100. So we need to create a neutral 50. And the sad thing is that you can. Okay, so this is important because I think in Webflow right now you're unable to change the order of variables, which is if you're a bit of the on the spectrum, it's something you will not like. Let's just call it like that. Neutral 300, 400, 500, 600. We need a 700. Neutral 700. 800. Oh, and then 900. Then we're good. Pow. Okay, quick copy paste, and then we can get back to the fun stuff. Pow. Pow. Yeah, so since you're joining this stream, this is not your slick YouTube video where everything is cut to tiny pieces to deliver it to you as effective and most efficient as possible. So this is really a hangout stream. Me working incredibly slow and doing all these things. You get to enjoy live and hang out with me. If there's anything you would want to know, feel free to hit up the chat. If you have any questions, if you want to call me names, everything is welcome. I will do a quick check in the text chat because I did abandon that a little bit. And everything seems to be okay. All is well. Cool. So we're up for 45 minutes. If you've joined so far, I hope you're enjoying it. And here we go. So we have two colors now, two color palettes, these ones. And I do need a strong call to action color. Right here, it's actually a very dark one. And I need a contrast color, so I am going to maybe pick this one as a brand 2. Or maybe pick it from Untitled. Let's see. So let's see what the right blue would be. It's actually a bit brighter than this, a bit more. This is too colorful. This as well. I need to have one that's a bit toned down, maybe. The regular blue it's too light. Yeah, so this is actually a custom palette, but you know what, fine. Let's just go with that. And I'm going to call it secondary. And I'm only going to do the 500 for now. And we can extend this later on. And I will hate myself for not having done that immediately. But that's how things go. Whoa, and that's the wrong code. FE82D3. Pow, that's a blue. All right. Oh, I need more because buttons are okay. Sorry about that. Secondary 600 for the border, which is 4A68C6. Pow. Cool. All right, so this is the start of the brand colors, and we are going to actually go into the style guide. I already have a font that we're going to rock, which is Allegria. So this is something we set up earlier, Allegria Sans, and that's the font we're going for. So actually for this, we will be using a very nice plugin called Batch Styler. And I'm going to select all the fonts and replace Roboto with Alegria Sans. And I hope that we have all the semi-bolts, medium. Okay, so there's no real semi-bolt. There is an extra bolt. So what we could actually do is, if there's a medium, we can do extra bolt for this and a black for the extra bolt. So we have regular, bolt, medium, semi-bolt, and black. I'll allow it. So I'm going to hit update. It'll take a while. It'll update all the different font styles, meaning the actual sizes, and typeface, and weights, but it will respect all the font sizes. So that's it. That's how fast things can go. I would really love to get something like that for the color variables, but right now Figma is really, started just new with the colors. This is also where you can manually change the colors if you want to, but we are using the color variables, which I think is a really cool system. And I quickly covered the primitives, but let's now jump into the semantic. So as we can see here, now we have a color primary, secondary, tertiary, tertiary. Wow, a horrible word. Success, error, border, text, and links. So as you can see now, for example, the primary text is just black, but we can also say, I want the text color to be the darkest neutral. And maybe I want to say text primary neutral 800. And maybe I would want the headings to be always a little bit darker. So what if I would say text headings, headings, whatever. I'm going to say I want to actually use a neutral 900 for it, like this. Now, what you can see, for example, that I would want all the headings to have the link to the semantic headings text color, because now if I would change this color, all the headings would change. But if I decide to connect a different color to headings, it will still be linked to headings, and therefore it will change. I hope that makes sense. And I heard some chat popping off, so I'll just take a quick look to see who we have with us today. Okay, that's someone we will have to park for now. Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, so some people on LinkedIn chat in the DMs simply asking me like, "Hey, follow me so you can get an alert when I post something," which is a bit, which is an interesting question. Jeremy, thank you for that comment. I will see my best or do my best to see if I can get some tardigrades in there. LinkedIn once again is doing a horrible job on the chat or keeping up with the chat. So I saw people sharing it and actually comment on it, but not seeing the actual comments in the chat. Let's see. Okay, thank you, LinkedIn, for being weird. Let me just see if I can figure out what people have commented, which is interesting. Okay. I have no reason why, but for some reason I'm unable to see the actual comments on the stream. Maybe because it's a live one. But anyhow, I see 7. You know what? If you are watching on LinkedIn, just shoot me a DM or in the messages, and I'll see if I can find it from there. And I will also mute myself because I've been hearing myself. Anywho, thanks everyone for tuning in. So if you just joined, we did a quick AI session to generate first a sitemap, which is here. for a website that helps people to celebrate their events. So it is a celebration of life, love, and business. This is the homepage with the elements we wanted in there. Based on that, we created the following sitemap, and we are just about to head in with preparing some of the brand stuff and some of the style guides. So actually, this is no longer a Roboto because this is actually the correct font. This is not linked, which is funny enough because the font is called Allegria Sans. If I select this and I go into edit mode, I'm seeing it right here. Allegria Sans. So that's what I'll name it here. And I will also manually put it like that. And this should also be, which is not linked. Anyway, use the batch styler to do that quickly. And if I now go into my wireframe, for example, I still see a few things. So the font's updated, which is really cool, which is a really good start. Logo still on its own. So let's jump into that part, which is here. So there are two logos, which is on the light and dark mode. To keep it simple, right now I have these two logos, and I'm just going to link this to manually to actually the primitive 950 or neutral 950 might be better. This one to the neutral white or 25 might be nicer. And all right, let's make sure that we have a bit of spacing in here. 8, that's fine. Ungroup this component. So this is logo white, or light, I should call it, because it's not actually white. Logo white, logo dark. And what I'm doing right now is actually I'm selecting them and exporting them as SVGs. So the cool thing about SVGs is, yeah, it might be the same as breaking it apart, but anywho, this is what I prefer. So I have like a really clean version now, which I'll drag into here of the two logos with the appropriate spacing. So this one should go here inside the frame. This always is a thing that I'm kind of struggling with, but let's see if we can make it 25% smaller. And then this is the box. So I should have looked how large the logo is. It is, let's see, let's call it 103. People are going to hate me for that scaling. I apologize. 29. And actually, let's just do the same for this one. Paste it in there. Remove these. 0,25. 103 bij 29. Pow. There we go. Maybe small centering if there's something funky going on. So we now replace the logos. If we go back to the wireframes, bada bing, bada boom, there's the replaced logo. Ignore the mobile for now. And yeah, let's spice it up a little bit more. So we need to get some sweet elements in there. And this is some style sketches that I made earlier with the colored background or the neutral one for the first one. Let's take a second to think about what we're doing. Okay, so the navbar. This is actually the thing that we are going to change first, because as we said earlier on, we were not able to add the correct site navigations in there. So this is actually the moment where I start to tear things apart. So I'm going to detach this from the main component. These are the links, Love, Life, Business. This is a drop-down link. I'm just going to do this, and I'm actually going to hide the drop-down because maybe I want to use it later on. About us, Love, Life, Business, Contact. I think that's what we said in the sitemap as well. Home, about us, life, love, business, contact. And the CTA looks great. All right, let's style some buttons, right? I'm actually going to do a few things. First, because I want to see if I can get that dark background in here. So if I go to my primitives and maybe look which one we used here, the 956, lovely, which wasn't one of these, but I assume it's the 600. So I'm just going to use the 600. See brand 600, and I'm going to go to semantics, background color secondary, and call it brand 600. Maybe I should have used the alternative and used a light gray here, but that's up to you. Background. Oh yeah, so I'm hiding. Let me just hide this. Now select here the fills. And as you can see, it's actually linked to the semantic background color secondary. And the nice thing about it, I'll just repeat it once more, is that actually if I go to primitive and color brand and change this color, the color will change in the background because it's linked to brand 600, but it keeps everything intact. And from a semantic standpoint, having a secondary background makes a lot more sense. So now that these are actually, well, it's not dark mode, but we do need to get a different color. So actually the logo, is this still a company logo? Yes, I can just change from dark to light. That's pretty easy. And for these ones, it's actually a link alternate. And the button, that's the thing we're going to have to dig into in the style guide, is that it's still the neutral one. So here's a bit of a thing that also is, well, it's more complex than it seems. You have your primary, secondary, and your tertiary. But here on the right side, there is a dark mode version of it. So the question is, do you want to use your dark mode for a colored background or not? Because a colored background isn't the same as a dark mode. But since this is a marketing website, I'm not going to use a dark mode. So what if I would say that I'm actually going to change this background and change it to background secondary, and here determine how the button should look. So let's first change all these buttons. Oh, do not want to copy them or add a new version. To fill, and actually I should do it the right way. Go here to my semantics, and I want to create a new color named button primary. And what it does now is that it creates a new page for me called button primary, and I want to link this to my brand secondary, and I can create a new variable here, say border, and create this to my secondary 600. There we go. So now I have to once again reselect the buttons and fill to button. I want to link it to the semantic one, primary, stroke, button border. Oh, button border. And now we can do a few more things if we would like. We can, for example, say that all the buttons should have a border of 2. Maybe we can go really nerdy and apply iOS corner smoothing to it, which no one will ever see, but it's a cool trick. So it'll change the way the border is rendered a bit. And this is a super simple button. Maybe you want to add a bit more schwung to it, so let's just spice it up a little bit. So I'm going to select all these. I'm going to do a little bit of effect magic. I'm going to say that all the buttons should have a small shadow, or maybe an extra small, and maybe I wanted to do something different. Let me just remove this. Let's just start with a inner shadow on the bottom. And this is why you would actually want to have all your brand colors in there. It's super tiny, but now it feels like there's a small gradient offset at the bottom. I don't know if I like it. I'll probably remove that later on. But anyway, for the sake of speed, let's just keep going. So these buttons should also have the same corner radius, rounding, whatever. And let's just say for the stroke, also use that same stroke color. Did something go wrong with my border radius? Because I'm not an expert, but these are not rounded. No, they are. Okay, had to smash that enter button. Oh man, I gotta remove that effect from the buttons because this is just, I can't live with myself. Sorry about that. So anywho, you can go as wild as you want with the buttons. Right now, I just want to focus on going through this process first. So if I now go back to my wireframe, we can see actually that those buttons changed, and whew, that's a horrible color on the background like this. We will change that definitely. Alternate. You know what? Maybe just text alternate. These buttons, we can actually say that they are pasted on a dark mode. You can see that it gets the white text now. Ooh, okay. So from the design perspective, I really apologize. This isn't the prettiest as I would like, but I got to deal with it for now. I'm going to give it one other attempt to see if I can. I will just disable maybe some LinkedIn plugins. Hopefully that works. Disable. Okay. All right. If you're still with me, can you just throw something in the chat, just to know that just so that I can see that things are working properly. All right. So I have some amazing photos that I want to use. Let's see. I should actually just throw them all in here. Now, this is normally not something that I would do, but I'll just throw everything in here. And I know, of course, that Figma will apply downscaling, which is perfectly fine. I don't need them all in high res anyway. Wow. Those are more photos than I expected. Figma does not like working with these auto layout for these big images, but yeah, you better get used to it, man. Deal with it. Pow. There we go. Cool. So this gives us a few nice images. They're actually all from a styled shoot, but I want to see if I can maybe do a nice combination of maybe also some portraits, so we can kind of pretend that that's a business event. I'll just randomly pick a few people. There we go. Go back to the wireframe. Oh, placeholder image. So I need to, of course, detach this, throw them in here, and actually make sure they have the same size. There we go. And we can remove some of the others. So the most important thing on this one is the width by far. I will need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more pictures. Oh, there were more coming. Nice. Okay, let's see if we can tidy this up. Figma is really not enjoying these photo walls, so please don't do this to your Figma file. Oh man. Okay, sorry, this was a bad idea. I'll remove these from my Figma file. This isn't. This is not going to speed things up. I'll just select a few manual. Maybe some. That might be a problematic photo because of the white background. Some food. All right. So these are the photos. They should all be 319. Excuse you. There we go. So we now have a few photos that we can throw into the wireframes. There should be 3 here. And there should be 3 here. So let's see where that leaves us. What's this photo doing? You're just going crazy. Cool. Okay, so these are just a couple of pictures. For this, I want to remove the stroke. I think it's really not adding much. I really can't stand that color, but here we go. Learn more about us, and you know what? Maybe just turn it around, about us, and put this one here as well. Then we need 3 pictures for life, love, and business. Now I'm actually just going to steal these that I had from earlier because it's taking up quite some time already. And I'm just going to replace. Oh wait, I should of course put them in the right order, otherwise it doesn't make much sense. Something like this. And anyway, this goes on and on and on. I think here, life, love, business. And then here there should be a picture of the woman who's making it all possible with the video. And what I would like to do is actually remove this bottom padding, because the header is part of this one, and maybe on the top one we can remove this a little bit like that. We have a testimonial, and I actually have a photo of the person who I know gave the testimonial. So if we go to Google and we find the company, they actually have the review. And I want to see the review, which is this one. It's a bit of a long text, so I might have to this one. Then we have a photo of the lady in question. Let's give it a bit of a wider crop though. Export this to desktop. So yeah, this is happening a bit outside of your stream. So I'm just quickly opening up Lightroom where I actually have a picture of the person in question. And I'm quickly throwing that in Figma. Bada bing, bada boom. And of course, the stars I would like to have some sort of yellow color, but I think, yeah, this is from my own design system. And it won't be Webflow. So there won't actually be a business logo since it's a B2C client. And this should be a mock-up. So this is how I would fill things up. To be honest, it looks quite boring and plain at this point in time. What you could do, for example, is consider using Figma plugins like Blob or things like that to actually create a few shapes that you can use in that brand color. So if I would say brand maybe 100, I have this nice shape. I can go back to wireframes and, for example, paste this maybe somewhere here, and I want it to be absolute. And I now have it there, but I actually want it behind layout 1. It has a background, so it should maybe oh yeah, I need to detach it. Or wait, I don't, and I can just remove the background. But then it goes white. But then I want this one to have a background. And there we go. So now we have this fun little shape here. And we have done the magic of branding. No, just kidding. This is just a bit of silliness, but I wanted to quickly show you like how would you kind of make it more custom, make it more fun, do a bit more things around that, because I think the thing you want to avoid is to actually making all the websites super boring, uniform. And yeah, every website needs to have their own look and feel, you know. So how can you achieve that? How can you still fit in a brand and make it fun and playful and make it more personal without going all overboard on branding? So the brand 100 is too much. 50, it's something lighter, but it looks just weird. So it might be something like really light. Maybe just move it a bit, somewhere a bit out of screen, something like that. Yeah, so I still really don't like that background. It's too dark. So what I'm actually going to do is go into the background color and change that secondary to maybe 50 to add a little bit of color to it. And then I do need to, once again, change back the colors, link secondary or maybe primary. And that primary could be a bit brighter. And I'm going to change this text to alternate. Text primary, text secondary. It's a bit too light, text secondary. So we're going to do maybe brand 800. And actually the text headings. So I created a heading color for text. And the buttons, once again, should not be dark mode, but primary. And this is where we are now. So this is where I'm just going to park it for now. So we can head into the third chapter of the stream, which is actually about building this in Webflow. So once again, to quickly recap, we've gone from Relume, in which we created a sitemap based on some AI input, some shenanigans. We picked a couple of the components that went for the homepage and the live page. And we went into a wireframe situation where we copied and pasted the wireframe actually with the Relume plugin. And based on those wireframes, we started designing. So we changed the style guide up a bit. I'm really not that happy yet with the button colors. We changed the logos. We didn't even touch the inputs. So there are a lot of things that you can actually change. So for example, if we have that checkbox, I think it's a lot of fun to change that. Let's see where I'm messing about now. Maybe to a brand color, brand 900. And of course, you should also do this in a nice way. So I'm just doing this really messy right now. Checkbox, maybe give it a rounding of 2. It's a small element. You don't want to round it too much. And maybe change the same also to the same border, which was, I thought, 900. Yeah, cool. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. So I actually am going to do one thing that's really pissing me off. Buttons. I'm going to change this to brand, let's say 600, and border to brand 900. Right? It was the same as I did for the checkbox. I did actually 800. There we go. So now we have a bit of a more normal looking button. I think, to be honest, that if we do white text on it, I would want it to be a little bit darker. So let's go maybe with 800. Okay, 800 is a bit too dark. 700 is the sweet spot. You want to check this with WCAG color to make sure that there's plenty of contrast with the text on it. And I see here with this secondary button, if I go to, well, I can actually right click, go to main component. And I have here text primary, and I actually want this to be the same as button border, which is a weird thing, but I want the text. Ah! Panic! Sorry. I probably would not do the icon in that color. Instantly regret. But this is how you could play around with the styling of your elements, making sure they are exactly as you would like before continuing to the next step, which is the Webflow stuff. Right now, I think this is perfectly fine. So we have a first draft of the homepage. We can change the photos. We will change the text. There are the 3 main services. I think with the photos that we have, maybe we could already pick better photos. There are some USPs here. There are some icons. There are actually already a few icon sets in here. So maybe we can focus on the 3 USPs. And I think I somewhere already have like a draft from that. Let's see. Maybe not here. Am I mistaken? Maybe I am. All right, let me just yeah, I found something. tailor-made, all-inclusive planning, personalized event. So this is like tailored made. So maybe we can do like an icon that's, there we go. All inclusive should be all in one, maybe something like that. Personalized. Yeah, so this is more about having a person that helps you to take care of it. So I think maybe a shield is a nice idea. So for these, I would want to actually maybe do like a brand 700 to really show like, hey, these are a bit of a visual effect. And what I would also do normally in my variables when it comes to text is to create a variable called tag. So I would link this one to also a brand color, which would be a light version, maybe 600 should be enough. And I would use these things to kind of stylize those tags. Well, yeah, it's a tag, so it's not really. I'm just going to quickly select these few bad boys and call this tag. So we have a bit more color in here. Maybe we can even like change the backgrounds on these to like a very light one, have a bit more. Wait, it was backgrounds. Don't link it to the derp. Should this one be that color as well? Nah, right? Nah, let's keep that separate. All right, cool. So what do you guys think? Is this good enough to start building? Is there something worth realizing? So someone, Timo Angada asked, when using the Figma to Webflow plugin, how do you make the section responsive? Specifically, I would like to change the flex layout from horizontal to vertical on tablet size and below. Well, Timo, thank you for your question. First of all, I would like to point out that I'm actually not using the Figma to Webflow plugin, and I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't respect the client-first styling. So with Webflow, and I will show you in a second, we will hike this. With the Webflow Relume plugin, which we're actually going to use, it has a specific class styling, which makes sure that all the brand and styling elements stay intact. And I will show you that in a second. So we will make the switch to Webflow as we speak. Just give me a few seconds to check some short messages. All right. Everything is still seems to be working. I'm having the weirdest time with checking out LinkedIn comments. Oh, actually, in anonymous mode, I'm able to see it. So, Jeremy wants some tardigrades. maybe not. Don't be ashamed if you never heard from Relume. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. It is not a recording hang. I will. Damn it! Have to look for tardigrade. All right, tardigrade. Here we go. Pow. This is your tardigrade moment for all the people that asked for it and have been waiting on it. You now have a tardigrade moment. Thank you so much for the kind comments, Twan. Also happy that you're here. Thanks for checking it out, Hung, Raymond, Jeremy. Hope you're still with me. And yeah, let me know if you have any follow-up questions. So also, if you're watching me on any social media, make sure you follow me or subscribe or sub, whatever, wherever you are. It's going everywhere. We're always all over the place. And yeah, cool. Let's continue. So we finished this Figma step, and we're opening up Webflow. So this is where it might get a little bit tricky. because I will actually have to share another screen. And I don't know why my camera is being so terribly annoying. I hope it's not the Apple camera stuff. Let me just turn a few things off. Maybe that's better. I hope it's more solid. Weird. So that was Apple Studio Light that was being annoying. Let's see. All right. Share screen, and it will be a window, which is this one. And now you're all able to see everything. Cool. Clone the style guide, first step. So we are going into Webflow. We're going to name this, we're copying a starter project for Relume. And we're going to call this We Celebrate Stream. We will rename this later. And this will give us a nice boilerplate to start working with. So the way it works is like this. You get a style guide. If you don't know it, now you know. And this is basically how every page should look. So the style guide is once again a really handy place to change all your branding elements, all the text weight, all your fonts, etc., etc., etc. And there is a bit of a disconnect with Figma and Webflow, truth be told. Yeah, because you don't exactly can like copy paste the whole styling part. So that means that if you want to actually change things, you would here on have to first Allegria. Oh wait, do I see it? I need to add the font. Apologies. Allegria Sans. Sorry, Sans. Pow. So it will be the 300. Okay, this is going to be a pain, but I'm just going to go with these. This should be plenty. I'm going to actually see if now I'm able to. Okay, so I'll have to refresh. Because just as we did in Webflow, for the styling part, we actually want to say, okay, all H1 headings should by default be the Allegria Sans. You can actually go one step further and say that all the fonts by default should be Allegria Sans. And this changes already actually everything. So this might be a better step. So if we go to the H1 headings and we say, okay, it's a font that's selected, we can actually alt click it. So it's no longer specifically saying like, oh, all H1 headings should be Allegria Sans. Because on a, if you know HTML, we have now on a body level determined that all the fonts should be Allegria. So only the things like width should be attached to it now. So what you can do now, so I here have a Relume plugin. It has actually a Relume library, a class sync. You want to turn this on. And this actually helps you to avoid when you copy paste elements that it gets like a button to. So everything should be linked to a button class and not generate new classes when you copy paste them in. You can create your own SVG icons. Let's see if there's something else. Some external links, class sync, Relume library. Nothing too crazy. And I actually want to do one quick thing to show you. We have a global styles element in here. This is the thing that you want in every page. So the structure is page wrapper, global styles, main wrapper, padding, container. That's it. And there's one thing worth mentioning is that with preferences, you can say which client first styling naming convention do you want to use. So the Relume style guide client first v21 is the perfect one, or the one that I enjoy using. Creating a homepage. So everything that's in here right now, we can actually remove. Beep. And this is our starting point. So the first thing that we want to do, for example, based on Figma, is actually include the navbar. And let me show you how you do that. We go to Relume library. We can go to navbars, and the one that we used is actually navbar 2. We can copy and we can paste in the page wrapper. Pow! And here is our menu. So we have a logo, which is now an image. And of course, we want to replace this. And the nice thing is that I already created those images for the Figma file. So let me just see where I left them. They are logo dark, logo light. They will go here. And we are using the dark logo. So I'm just going to replace the image with this one. And it's a little bit too big. And we want it to have a height of, let's say, 28. Navbar 2 logo, max height, 28 pixels. We can even say it's a high DPI or not. I don't want it to change. That's the logo. And we want to create the menu. So the menu was about us. Love on a life. Love business. And contact. And we can hide or remove this one. I hid it in Figma. So I'm just going to add a class here called hide. And it's gone. So now what we want to do is actually, we can actually do a few things. So remember the variables that we used in Figma. Now what I would actually like to do is sync those variables with this Webflow project. So if I go into Figma, and I'm just going to share my entire screen because we're going to do a lot of alt tabbing. So it'll be the entire screen. Okay, so this is what we have right now. And I will go to plugins, Figma to Webflow. Whoa. And I need to make sure that we have the right website, which is this one. And design system sync. Let's see, to enable sync, open website to Webflow and launch Figma to Webflow app. Okay, makes sense. So we need to have the app, Figma to Webflow, launch. So we are opening this up. It's waiting for a connection. Let me just go here and here. Okay, it's open. Let's see if we can do that again. It's kind of interesting because it says it's not linking. I think maybe the app settings, and I don't know if I can like find it directly, but maybe it doesn't have the permission. Okay. What did it say? Try logging in and out. Okay, well, let's try that. Log out. Let's try again. Connect. Let's give them everything, access to everyone. That should work. It's linked. And we're going back here. We're going to refresh just to be sure. And we're going to open up the app here. Hey, and it's working. Great. All right. So these are all the colors. Okay, so you can only sync a few things, but it has color neutrals, the color systems, and the color brands. So let's just start with that, and let's not spend too much time on it. So if I now come back here, I can actually import all the variables, and that's it. So if I now go to this navbar, let's just pin this for a second because it's a bit of annoying. And say the background color should be, what was it, brand 50? Background secondary, which was brand 50, right? Yes, background color, secondary, brand 50. Yeah, exactly, cool. So that's that. Then we have the button. So we, of course, still need to do the button styling. And instead of doing this on a page level, let's navigate to the style guide and fix it here. So the styling we had for the button primary and border was 700 and 900. So the thing that's important to know is that in the way it's set up in Webflow is that you have the button class, and the styling that you put in here, you don't have to put on a second class, which is small. So if I go to the main button and I say the text should be brand 25 or 50, and the background color was brand 700, I think. The border was brand 900. It had a rounding of 4 pixels. And yeah, I can't do that border smoothing. So that whole iOS border smoothing joke was just for nothing. And this is the button now. So we have a 1 pixel border around it, nothing too crazy. If we would like to, we could add the small shadow here, which is a box shadow. Could do like X0 to blur 4, maybe start with a brand 950, but can I? Wait, change. Okay, that's nice. I want to make it transparent. Edit the linked value. No. Wait, let me just toss it. So this gives us a nice soft shadow. You can see it especially on the buttons here. Okay, what did we do for the secondary buttons again? The same border and text color. So the border is the same. The text color was brand 950. And normally what you would do is to create the same color variables here as well. So the variables that you would actually say border, button border, for example, or button text color, you know. Colors here, same story. I'll just do the 950. 950, that's good. 950, pow. Cool, so there we have it. Now we have styled our buttons. If you go back to our homepage, we have a lovely button. So let's make it a little bit more spicier, right? I'm just going to refresh this page to check some LinkedIn comments. Yeah, I might save the video. I don't know if I will do an edit. And TB, yes, we are absolutely live. It's Sunday. It's beautiful weather. I thought it would be a good idea to stay inside. and people still want to see the tardigrade. So here you go. This is me on the tardigrade, and that's all you need to know. Yeah. So Willem-Jan, thank you for joining in. So far, what we actually did was with Relume create the sitemap. Based on the sitemap, we created the wireframe. We implemented a few design elements, and because of that, we are now actually moving this design to Webflow. So if you're interested in that part, how to move from Figma to Webflow, you definitely don't want to lose your opportunity to check this out. Cool, the main wrapper. So we have our navigation. I placed it outside of the main wrapper. You can actually place it in here as well. Not underneath, but inside. And next up is a lovely component. So the component that we're using is a header 76. I will go into my Relume header 76 copy and pow, paste it right in. And that's how easy it goes. So now we have this one. It's even animated. Come on, guys. How much easier can your life be? So let's export these images. I, of course, did not save them or store them separately. I will actually go from here. I will, what's wise? Move this one here, 390. You know what? It's fine. Export them as JPEG. We'll call it stream pics and quickly upload them. What I really love about Webflow as well is that if you upload your images, and normally you could create like a nice folder for it here, we would say photography, pow, and actually maybe select, move to photography, pow, get them in here, select all, and press compress. Are you sure? Yes, because what will actually happen is that it creates WebP images. So the original file, if you're interested, is 212 KB, and it is now only 6.4 KB, which is significantly less. So, meaning if we would now throw these images in, hello, replace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I'm going to replace the black and white picture and put this one here. So, pow. Okay, I just want to say that compression is way too much. Let's see if we can somehow change that, because this is ridiculous. It now looks like a absolute stamp or something. You know what? Let's do tiny PNG, which is a bit of a less. It still shrinks it by a lot. What sizes are the JPEGs, by the way? 319, right? What sizes are they here? Because maybe they are just too small. Yeah, they're too small. Okay. So let's double it. Let's make them 640 wide. Export them again. Replace what we have. Let's go back here. And shrink. So you will see the size reduction. This is tiny PNG, which is like a very solid compression. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to manually go through this step, but it is a way to figure out if it's the image sizes are actually not too small. So I'm going to go back here. Just to be sure, I'm going to delete these pictures. So I don't want to use those. And let's see if this is better. This one, it's kind of interesting because I see, and that's something we need to change as well, that it actually has a certain fill to it. And I don't want to. So for example, this image is a lot wider, and I think it uses, let me see the cover, fit, contain. Yeah, so if I do a contain, it respects the wish, but then the image cover, should have a auto max height, which doesn't work, which is great. Let's do a contain, but I want the, let's say the container, I want it to actually fit. Because normally you could also say that you would want the, let's see, the container to automatically adjust its height, which it now does not. And now it does. But this would probably, oh no, still works. Okay, so here we have this going on, padding, height, auto. All right, you know what? I'm going to keep it like this for now. I could probably upscale the images and keep it like this, but I don't want to break that animation right now. But here we go. Anywho, so this header component, or this section, it should also have the same background image, background color, which was the brand 50. It's nice with the menu. In the menu, I don't want that border. Maybe, I'm just going to check it out real quick. Maybe a brand 100 color to give it like a bit of distinction. It's not too bad, right? Let's see how these button hovers act. They don't. So what would we want to do when this hovers? Probably change the color to yeah, I'm just going to completely ignore the color variables now. So the thing that normally happens when you give it a bold is that the other items move, but it doesn't happen, which is nice. And yeah, for text, guess how that works, guys? You can just go back to your Figma file, to your wireframe, back to your Webflow, and paste. Pow! It's that simple. Same goes for text. Pow! Here we go. So for the text, we want to actually have the heading, which we don't have, which was a brand 950. And for the text primary, you know what? Let's just change it properly. So we go into our variables, text primary. Let's link this to neutral, brand 800, and link primary to brand 900, brand 25 for 50. All right. And yeah, here we go. So to be honest, this is all there's to it. And we can go into a few more components. But this is really what it boils down to. So it's the magic of knowing, well, I've used these elements. This is what I want to change in the design from it. This was layout 236, which we can easily add. So we go into our main wrapper, Relume plugin, and 236, copy, and paste underneath. There. And here you can do whatever you want. So once again, it was celebrate life, love, business. And with the right text underneath. And there I do notice that there's something happening that I don't like, which is that shadow on a link. So I want to remove that. So I would go back into my style guide, go to buttons, and it's this one, which is link. I'm going to say remove this one so it doesn't have a shadow. And the color seems to be okay. Maybe one lighter so it actually shows a little bit of the color. And that brings us here. So you can even do like fun things, like, to be honest, if I hover on this, for example, you could say, well, I want to have the, let's see, how is the spacing set up? So the gap, maybe I'm going to say on the hover, the gap is maybe 1. So when I play it now and I go over it, oh, that's not really smooth. Hover. I want to, the non-state, apologies, do a 2D and 3D transform, no. Transitions, there we go. All properties, we can select a specific, the ease out quint and 100 milliseconds, which is a bit faster. And now it's bloop, has a little animation and it goes on all the buttons, which is cool. Yeah, so let's check in with everyone in the stream. How's everyone doing? Are we okay? Are we alive? Are we happy? Any questions so far? Checking in on X as well, the live stream. Cool. Gotta switch to this one to actually see the comments here. I wish I could sort it on most recent, but anyway. Yeah, so for those wondering, why are you watching it here like this? Because if I go to, hey, I have a comment here in the LinkedIn, I click it, I go to this screen, and I don't get to see the comments, which is totally useless. So thanks, LinkedIn. Cool. Well, want to keep building. It is 3:45, so we can go on for 15 minutes, and we'll round it up. If you have any questions or you want to see anything specific, let me know, and I will dive into it. 245, copy, pow, paste. And as you can see, a lot is already happening. So the headings actually have that styling. I think, to be honest, now that I see it like this, I really don't think this is the right one because there should be a heading. I'm going to into my variables, text color, create a new variable for color, created headings, text primary, heading, and I should be this one. I want it brand 900 or 950 even. Why not? And then this should be heading, text primary. And for this, we actually created a tag variable. Don't know if that came along. Tag, no. Create new variable. Wait, it should be in text. Text color. Tag. And this was brand 700, I think. Maybe it was 600. I could check Figma, but too lazy right now. So this will be tag, pow. And now we have a nice color tag. So these headings are way too light. So the headings should be darker. Heading. And we could actually give this the same color as a tag, to be honest. But the icon doesn't change because it is in an SVG. Oh, I changed. Yeah, wait. So it should be background color as well. This might go wrong. Yeah, that will go wrong. Yeah, so normally I would, on a different way, include that icons. Let's see. That's icon converter, but let's go to Relume icon library and dive into that as well. Now, I'm a bit annoyed by one thing, by the icon finder, because right now I have these icons. So this is a ruler, and I want to know which of these icon sets did that ruler came from. So if I would go here and I would type ruler, it's called ruler, right? Let's see. Ruler, yes. So do I see a ruler icon here that matches the one that I had in my design? So I can actually look here, and this is the icon, but now I don't know from which set it came. So it's weird, but anyhow. So let's see, this is the 1x1 medium. So I'm going to say 1x1 medium, icon medium, 48 pixels, and I'm going to copy it to Webflow, and I'm going to paste it right here. Pow. And it actually already had my icon. Cool. So the other one was called select multiples and shield quarter. Select multiples. Was it the filled one? Nope. Medium, copy for Webflow, and paste it in. Pow! And the last one was shield quarter. You know what? To be honest, I didn't really like the quarter, so let's just go for a simple shield maybe. Something with check. There we go. And copy paste some text. There we go. So the buttons, this is really for the about us, I would say. I don't know. Well, pick your poison, whichever icon you would want. I'm going to stick with the secondary button, and I can just remove this. And then we go into the 3 layouts, which is 192. Library 192. And paste this 3 times. And you might want to know, how would I turn this around? So if we have this one here on the image side and this on that side, we can just go bloop, and there you go. Of course, we do want to know that this should be the header variable, header text primary. This is the tag, so I would like this one to be tag, which it already does. And please, for the love of me, change a few things. So this is a heading, which is perfectly fine. But when you actually go into your headings, these are also headings, change a few things. So I'm going to go actually to my style guide and select these ones and go to all H1 headings should have the heading primary color, and I want the line height to be reduced to 1 or maybe 0.9. We'll check that in a second. And we're going to change the colors here real quick so we don't have to do that anywhere else later on. There we go. And if we now go back to our home page, every heading that falls on multiple lines is a little bit closer to each other. if you even want to take it one step further, and I would recommend you doing that, is you would go back to the style guide and actually change something called letter spacing. So if you go here, you can move it to -2 pixels. Do this for all your bigger headings. When it's the smaller ones, just do it 1. And when you're probably at this point, you don't want to touch it anymore. If I now go back to my home page, the headings, ooh, this did not work because it has a separate class called heading, which is interesting. I just want this to be a heading. Is it me or did it not change? Letter spacing -2. And that was my camera. Oh. Quickly changing batteries. That's the one thing that I learned. If you do want to stream for a long time, make sure you have additional batteries. Quickly checking chat. Everyone still happy? Everyone still good? Cool. All right. So let's wrap this up. Yeah, okay, so this is a little bit too much. Maybe just stick with the -1 pixel, to be honest. Make sure you look what feels good, and make sure you have plenty of contrast in your colors. Things like this. This is now the heading 2, so all these classes you want to style as well. Once again, it was the line height set to 1, the letter spacing to -1 pixel, maybe -2. This is a little bit too much, I think. Here we have a heading style H4, same thing, line height reduced to 1. Make things look a little bit prettier, please. Pow. Cool. Yeah, so I will go over it one more time. We started all the way back here in Relume. We created a project called We Celebrate. We created these wireframes, and based on the page layouts, we decided which components should be on these 2 pages. From there, we created the wireframes with Relume, which is incredibly easy to select and change components, to already change the copy if you would so like to do so. At the end of the day, it's all up to you where you want to change your copy. Do you want to do it already in the wireframes, in Relume, or do you want to do it in Webflow? It's all up to you and the way you work with your client. To be honest, I would say get it into, at least agree on the components and that you want to use, and get it into Figma. I would advocate to do the content in Figma because you can't really change the pictures, I think, to create that design. So you're going to need to do that in Figma anyway. From here, we moved to Figma, where we imported the sitemap. We imported the wireframe, which we actually used as a design thing. So I completely overwritten the wireframe. Implemented some basic branding features, some colors. We talked about the Figma color variables. And from there, we went to Webflow. And in Webflow, we actually created the following. I will publish it on a staging environment. If you're interested, you can pull that up. And yeah, this is what we created. So if I now go to this link, ta-da, we're actually able to already view it. And I know it's not super exciting. It doesn't look like totally wild, but this is a really nice, good, and proper responsive website already. So I really hope you found this useful. This has been a, dear Lord, 2-hour stream. Thank you so much for joining in. The recording will be published somewhere. This is a very, very long video. You might even be able to just rewatch the live episode on YouTube or LinkedIn, wherever you want to watch it. Thank you so much for joining in. Feel free to contact me, shoot me a message with whatever you need. If you have any questions, connect and follow me. And I look forward to staying in touch. So have a great day, and thanks for watching.